Welcome back to another episode of the Dunces Podcast, and we are back here with Isandro, who is out here messing up his camera. But what's up, Isandro? How you doing, my
What's
boy?
up? Nice to see you
Chilling?
guys again.
Yeah. Well, you, us, and their fans, whoever they are, our 7 viewers. Shout out you guys. Um, Sandro, I know today we are supposed to talk about, free agency, Jalen Brunson getting the bag, which actually just got updated. It's not 110, it's at 104 million. Shout out Brunson. Um, Lakers getting Lonnie Walker, Juan Toscano. Uh, but none of that matters anymore. See, Kevin Durant has officially asked for a trade out of Brooklyn. Mind you, yesterday when we did the podcast, we discussed, are the Nets a legit threat? Definitely not anymore. So a trade is bound to happen for KD. First off, before anything, do you think this is the right move or the wrong move for Kevin Durant uh, and his career? Like, what do you think for in that sense? Do you think it's a good move for him to want out of Brooklyn right now at this point?
Oh, definitely the wrong move. I mean, I was talking about it on the pod before. They were like a couple pieces away. They ended up getting that defensive wing, Royce O'Neal, and they're like right now. If he didn't request that trade, they would literally be one piece away from being legitimate contenders. I don't know what that piece would be, but they were only one piece away. And now KD wants to leave. It's a domino effect. Now Kyrie wants to leave, and now all of a sudden it's like, what's gonna happen?
Well, the Houston Rockets should be ecstatic right now because they have all our future first round picks unprotected at that. So, look, I'm hearing all this noise of the Nets should rebuild, trade for future assets, which I get, trade for future picks, but also get solidified stars now because for one thing, you're trading away a player with 4 years left on his contract, no player option at the end of that fourth year, right? And I get it, he's on the other side of 30, but you're getting a all NBA, all star, superstar caliber, megastar caliber player right now on 4 years. You got to make a trade for a solidified star because you do not want the Rockets to reap your benefits, right? Like you don't want the same thing that happened with Boston to happen with Houston. Um, with that being said, though, do I think this is the best move for KD? Look, I respect the men going with their own legacy. I think that they decide their fate. The NBA is like that now. You can go and do whatever you want, whether you're under contract, whether you're out of a contract. The thing is, you choose where you want to go, and that's that. However, on the net side of things, I'm doing whatever is best for my organization. If I'm Sean Marks, I don't give a damn where Kevin Durant wants to go. I don't care where Kyrie wants to go. I care about what's going to be best and most beneficial for our team. So I can see them trading them both to a team like Washington for a bunch of first round picks. But yeah, that's where I'm at with all that. But let's get into it. Let's get into some trade ideas that you think are good for KD. Now I'm gonna have a Google Doc for everybody watching, and if you're listening, then by all means, you can just look us up on YouTube. But here we are now, guys, with the Dunces Podcast agenda. And as you see here, we have a few examples of trades that we kind of brought up together. Mainly, I brainstormed, and I just want to get Isandro's take on it. So, Isandro, tell me, what do you like about that first trade we got from KD to Phoenix for Booker, DeAndre Ayton, Mikal Bridges, Cameron Johnson, and two first round picks? Do you think that is a too much going back to Brooklyn? Is it not enough? What do you think?
It's the right return, but I don't think Phoenix is going to want to give that up. They're going to try to haggle. I think bare minimum it's going to be Booker Ayton in the picks, and then the real hassle is going to be between Bridges and if they want to give up Bridges and Johnson. To be honest, they might even struggle with giving up Booker, but it's a non-starter if he's not even included. To be honest,
Yeah, and frankly, Booker he technically can't even be a part of this deal anymore because he just signed that massive extension. So if this is pre signed Devin Booker, I would say that this would be the best trade package. But just remember that
I didn't even know he signed an extension.
Booker signed that extension with Phoenix. So technically, this would be what you're looking for, potentially 3 first round picks, I can say. But I don't even
No
know if
Booker,
that's
no deal.
yeah. So we're taking Phoenix out of there. Let's move
Mm-hmm.
on to KD to Miami. So we got Kyle Lowry, Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, Max Strus, 3 future first round picks and 2 second round picks going to Brooklyn for Kevin Durant. Do you do this if you're Miami? I mean, you saw this past season, they were this close. They were one shot away to beating the Boston Celtics and potentially beating the Warriors in the finals. Would they? Probably not because they were too banged up. But you add KD in there, they are a legit threat against Golden State and against any team in the Eastern or Western Conference. So do you think this is a good trade for both teams? Or is it just a good trade for Brooklyn or just Miami? Like, what do you think?
What would you rate this trade right here? What are your thoughts? Like
So
out of 10
for this KD Miami, look
to
out of
Miami?
10, I'll give it like a 6. I'm getting an
6 out
aging
of
Kyle
10.
Lowry. I'm getting a good solid young player in Hero who is probably going to be the centerpiece of that trade. But you're getting an overpaid Duncan Robinson, which we already have in Joe Harris. You're getting Max Strus on just one more year, and then you're gonna have to either pay him or just let him walk. You're getting 3 first round picks, which might not really amount to anything because I'm assuming Miami is going to be good for a while. And then the 2 second round picks, which you can inevitably, you can turn into, future assets and stuff. So I give this trade for Miami, I give it a 10, obviously. But for Brooklyn, I'm being generous with a 6. If I'm being
Hmm.
honest, I'd say around a 5. Like I'm not too excited, for this package coming back because Hero wasn't good at all in the playoffs, and we kind of still want to remain relevant. But what do you
Hmm.
think?
I would give it like a 5.5. And to me, the most valuable thing in this would actually be the picks, ironically, because the picks are going to be when, I mean, the Heat are old. KD's, how old is
Right.
he? He's like 33, 34. Jimmy's getting old. And all they're
Yeah.
going to have left is Bam. They're not really going to be contending for years to come. So those picks are going to become really valuable. They're what makes this a 5.5 out of 10 because like you said, Tyler Hero, he doesn't perform in the playoffs. Like we've seen it before. Like we could say like, well, he was young, whatever, but it's been a consistent thing, you
Yeah.
know. Kyle Lowry, I guess he was injured this year, but he's getting old. He's overpaid, so this is not really that great of a package.
Right.
The only saving grace is the fact that they're old and they're giving picks. That's it.
Yeah, and even then, Bam Adebayo is still there, and they could build the team around him as the aging stars get older, and then bring a few other pieces in because Miami never quits. Miami never tries to not make the playoffs, right? And especially if they're going to give up first round picks, they're going to try to remain relevant. So yeah, we're gonna move on to this trade that I kind of just made up. Most of these trades, all these trades I made up, but this one specific wasn't really talked about much because the Hawks just made a trade for DeJounte Murray, and they gave up a lot of unprotected firsts. So in this case, you're giving up DeAndre Hunter, John Collins, either Kevin Herter or Bogdanovich, and 2 first round picks. What years you don't know because you already gave up so much to San Antonio. You might be able to give a few, maybe even one more first round pick is what I would ask for if I were the Nets. What do you think for this trade package to Brooklyn?
I'd probably give this like a 6, to be honest. You see, you put like for the people who can't see, he put like a slash in between Herter and Bogdanovich. I think both would have to go up. I mean, not for salary reasons, but for like package reasons,
Just
both would have
talent,
to go
yeah.
right, just talent wise. And even then, we're gonna get to some like some really good packages later on. This really isn't anything, especially
Yeah,
because you said like what years were the first round picks? They just gave up the best ones they had.
yeah. I think the DeAndre Hunter thing is I think the most like notable thing I guess you can say. But I don't really see this coming into fruition too much. Um, we can also look at something else here with Golden State. Now, Golden State, I'm gonna bring it up only because Jeremy is back here, and Jeremy's joining our pod really late. What's up,
It's
Jeremy?
crazy because he joined right when we got to Golden
Right
State.
when we got to Golden
He's been
State. I
waiting
love
too.
that.
There's no way
I've been the force was telling me to join at this moment.
that's
And
kind of
it's
spiritistic, but okay.
very, very
What do you
scary.
what do you think of this? We'll ask Jeremy's opinion. What would you
Yeah.
rate this out of 10? This trade package that they would have to offer,
With
Jeremy?
KD, I say a solid 0 because we ain't trading for
Like,
KD. We ain't trading for KD.
if you hypothetically speaking, if you would trade, what would you say about this package? What would you
I
rate
would
it?
I wouldn't this package. I probably rated a good 8 out of 10.
Hypothetically,
You're
right?
saying for Brooklyn, right?
For Brooklyn?
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
for Brooklyn. Can I see the? Because you just so happen when you scroll down, I missed just
So
telling
no, it's
Golden
just right
State.
here. It's
Oh,
KD,
Golden
You highlighted
KD
it
to
right
Golden
there.
State.
Yeah, to Brooklyn. Yeah, I give it a solid 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10. It's not bad. I just wouldn't put Wiggins, my opinion. I think if anything, I'll probably put in Wiseman. That's the case.
Well,
But they would want
you kind
Wiggins,
of have to give up Wiggins though because of the money.
salary, yeah.
I
I mean,
mean,
I guess you can add Wiseman into this trade alongside Wiggins because
you
bro,
could add him, but I wouldn't want to give him up. But well, if it's because
Well, I would be willing to give
if
him up
that's
for
the money,
KD.
if that's the money you're talking about, then yes, I'll give it a solid 8. I got 8, 7.5. Not bad. It's what you need as a Brooklyn fan. You kind of need that. It's
Yeah.
fair to a certain degree, but Golden State is giving up too much for KD in that sense.
So what do you think, Isandro? I mean, do you think that it's too much for KD, especially after they just won a championship, or is this bringing back a player that Draymond Green said it on JJ Redick's live show that I should have gone to, but I didn't have the money at the time. But that's for another story. Draymond Green said if KD wasn't there, they don't beat that 2018 Cavs team.
2017,
So
2017.
17, 18, whatever. They don't beat that team. So what do you think? Do you think a KD reunion to Golden State would be good for them or no?
I have a sneaky suspicion that if they get KD, just off the top of my head, it really feels like they'd win a chip. I don't know. That seems like a winning formula. What do you guys think? So if it's
Obviously.
kind of like if it's kind of like a guaranteed chip, then wouldn't you give up everything for that? I mean, I don't know. To me, a team with Steph, Clay, KD, and even Draymond Green at this age kind of seems like a title favorite. What do you guys think?
So
Oh,
it's already
yeah,
you're already like
obviously.
might as well give them because they know how to work each
Oh,
other.
I'm definitely
they-
being sarcastic here. It's a no-brainer. If hypothetically speaking, this wasn't Golden State and this was like Team X, you
Well, of
give
course,
up
if it
everything.
wasn't Golden State, of course,
Exactly.
but that's the thing. This is Golden State, and they're
But I'm
just
saying
coming
like
off a
in the name,
championship.
if there was no history, if it was just blindfold the name, like the name of the team, you have these assets and you trade, and you have these players on your team, 100% you do it. But it's because it's Golden State. They have the history. They just won the chip. It's the context surrounding it. Obviously, the team with the best package available is not actually going to make the trade for him.
And it looks like the Warriors are really looking towards that future too. I mean, they plan on paying Jordan Poole. They plan on developing Wiseman, Moody, Kuminga. They just drafted
we're trying to have our future solid. Like
exactly, and they just
So-
drafted this young kid, young wing defender. I forget his name, but he's a solid player for the team. They got a bunch of young assets. Why trade them away for an aging star just to be irrelevant for the next few years when you could just remain relevant like the Spurs were for years, right? So I don't know. I'm not really too excited for this one for the Warriors side. For the Nets side, I would be for the first round picks and Kuminga. I think Kuminga is going to be a really good player in this.
yeah,
in this
because you
league,
guys
so-
need first round picks ASAP.
Yeah, because we gave up ours. Well, shut up, Jeremy. Anyway, back to let's go to the team that I definitely don't want him to go to. KD to Boston. You get Jaylen Brown, Derek White, Grant Williams, Peyton Pritchard, 2 first-round picks heading off to Brooklyn. What do you guys think? Is this a solid trade for Brooklyn or not?
7 out of 10.
7 out of 10 for Brooklyn. Right.
7.5.
Jaylen Brown is
Yeah.
the thing is beyond Jaylen Brown, you're getting some solid pieces, but that's it. And also Jaylen Brown, he's
Yeah.
good, but he's like you'll see like in terms of other packages that they have in terms of who are they giving up. He's good, but compared to the other players that these other teams have to offer, I don't know.
What do you think? What do you think, Jeremy?
I just think they're screwing up Boston a lot.
Hmm.
They're gonna up kind of important assets because Boston made the run and using Brown. What
But the thing is,
Derek
Jeremy,
White.
what you're saying is like teams have
they,
to give
they
up certain things.
I mean I understand that, but
And
keep
this
in
is
mind that
KD.
but Katie's not a point guard. How you gonna run a team? How you gonna look? Boston
You got
had
Marcus Smart.
like Marcus Smart as a point guard. Really?
I
Like
mean, he kind
Jason,
of is.
Jason. Let's be real
Look,
here.
okay, wait, look.
Who
So, Marcus
exploited their
Smart-
lack of offensive consistency?
Look, wait. Yeah, it was the Warriors, right? But look. Boston they had true quote unquote point guards in Kyrie and Kemba, and they did nothing with them. And Marcus
But
Smart brought them
Kyrie
to the
sold.
finals.
Kyrie sold, and Kemba didn't do
Okay,
much.
but okay, so they
Kemba was
technically
injured.
have a point guard.
They
You know,
did,
Marcus
but
Smart said
it wasn't
right?
work. It wasn't working out. So
No, I know.
KD,
I,
yes,
but
I
look,
mentioned that in the
having
their
last
KD,
podcast
problem
too.
having
is
KD
offense.
is
Jason
yes,
Tatum was too inefficient. He had the ball in his hands, turnovers.
too
Who
much
is the
ISO.
best? Who
Too
is
much ISO.
the second best offensive player in the league right now? It's KD.
Well, KD got stopped by that same Boston team though.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So there's
So it's
nobody.
like,
There's
so
nobody left to
like,
stop him from stopping
so
in
like,
Miami.
the only reason why it's a 7.5 because it's a good trade
Hey, Miami can stop.
for Brooklyn. It's a good
Miami's
trade
not stopping
for
Jason
Brooklyn.
Tatum,
Oh, no, for
Kyrie,
Boston,
and Bob
for
Williams.
Boston.
Time Lord.
It's a good trade
Yeah.
for so KD
Yeah,
to Boston.
I don't know. I just don't want it because it's Boston. All right, let's go to KD to Memphis.
Terrible
KD to
trade.
Memphis.
It's
So this trade, honestly, I was really proud of myself for making it to begin with. But it actually had Kyle Anderson on it, but he just signed with Minnesota. And then I find out that Jaren Jackson Jr. is out for 4 to 6 months with a foot injury. You know, he just had surgery on it. But
Yeah.
the trade would be, you know, Triple J, Desmond Bain, Dylan Brooks, Tyus Jones, who just signed an extension with Memphis for 2 years, 30 million, so that's 15 million a year, 2 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks. I would have, if it wasn't for the injury, I would have probably said that this was one of my favorite trades, like top 3 and the ones that I wrote down. But he is injured, so I don't plan on this happening. I don't
but they
want
could
this to
recover.
happen anymore.
But he could recover. It's not bad.
Yeah, but
It's a history of being injured, like being injured.
I want them to remain relevant enough to not give up those first round picks to Houston. You know what I mean? Like I want them to be, you know, and I think Ben Simmons can take them there as long as you get a good team around him, like a
But-
healthy Triple J, but he's not.
But
healthy,
that
so I
team,
don't
but
think
that,
it's a
but
good
look,
team.
that trade package, it's great defensively. That is a great
Oh
defense.
my God!
That is
Yeah.
amazing.
Dylan
That is
Brooks,
that
Desmond
is an
Bane, yeah.
amazing. So I think in that sense, if Brooklyn will pull the trigger on that trade with Memphis, y'all be set defensively. Like you wouldn't have to worry about offensively for much, but defensively, win championships.
I think this trade works out if we still have Kyrie and Ben, but you know
But
Kyrie is another
Kyrie,
question
by
mark. you know?
Kyrie's like iffy, and by the looks of it, LA wants Kyrie and KD. So that's
LA
a
wants
different.
everybody for THT. That's a
But-
whole separate pod.
I forgot THC was on that team. To be honest, yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
he probably could be mentioned in the trade that we'll mention later. But let's move on to KD to Chicago. And before I move on, actually, I just want to mention to those listening on the podcast again, this is going to be up on YouTube, so you can see this whole doc. I'm going to post it on our Instagram. But I'm also going to say that if you're watching it too, this is all hypotheticals. I just made it up. I am no expert. This is just some stuff that I brought, and I'm thinking as a Nets fan, and I'm also thinking as a basketball fan. I'm trying to like put like 50 different hats on. So please don't roast me in the comment section. If you do, well, keep doing it because we need
Definitely.
comments anyway. But let's go to the KD to Chicago. Levine actually just re-signed with Chicago. He got the, you know, he signed, but he could still be eligible for the sign and trade. So let's just say, hypothetically speaking, he traded away Zach Levine, Patrick Williams, Kobe White, and 3 first-round picks to Brooklyn. Potentially, you know, you could probably even add Alex Caruso in there, or Ayo Dawson Mu or whatever his name was. You know, one of
Ayo
those
Dosunmu.
guys, that guy. You could add one of them, or if not, just what do you think about this trade here, Isandro or Jeremy, whoever? I don't know. It's up to you
I'd
guys.
probably give this like a 4.
I give it,
Why?
yeah.
But why though?
I'll say 5. 4 was just for likelihood because it's definitely not happening with
Yeah,
Levine
yeah.
signing. Like hypothetically, technically, it could happen, but nah. But
Yeah.
I give it like a 5 because the assets really aren't that good unless
Yeah,
you throw in
exactly.
Caruso.
I think Caruso
Well,
should be added in this package
so
to make
let's-
to make at
let's-
least to make at
Let's
least.
add him. Let's add him. And then now give me. Is this?
I'll give it
is this
a I'll give it
good
a
I
si-
go-
I'll give it a 6. I'll
Yeah,
give
me
it a
too.
6.
It goes up to a 6 for me.
I'll give it a 6.
So I think this is the trade that would help us remain the most relevant because of Zach Levine. I think
No.
this one.
No.
Oh, okay.
I
As
disagree.
so far that we've mentioned so far.
So
because
we mentioned so far.
we have
Well,
you know.
the Boston one probably is a close one though.
Oh, yeah,
'cause you're
Boston
getting
because of Brown, right? But I just think
Brown and Grant
Levine-
Williams and Derek White too.
Don't talk about Grant Williams like that. And either way, we're not talking about Boston. Boston is not. You know what? I'm deleting that out of here. You're done.
He just doesn't want the.
All right. Let's move on to this next trade, which I'm sure you know Dame would love. Right. We get KD to Portland. We get Josh Hart, Anthony Simons in the sign and trade, which he just signed an extension, 4 years, 100 million. Shout out Anthony Simons getting that bag. Shaden Sharp, their rookie that they just drafted, and 4 first-round picks, 3 second-round picks to Brooklyn. How intriguing is this offer if you're Sean Marks and the Brooklyn Nets? I'm gonna delegate this one to Jeremy first. Jeremy,
I
what do you think?
I'll hop on that trade. I'll take that. I'll
Dang,
accept it.
really?
I'll take it. Yeah, I'll take
Is
it.
that an 8,
I give it a 7.5, 8
7
in
and a
there.
half?
Okay. All right.
8. It's because it's not a bad trade.
Because there's no outright star.
Exactly. It's like that's the only reason why. It's nothing like, oh wow,
You're banking on
Josh Hart's
potential.
hard. Oh my gosh, it's hard. Like it doesn't. It's
Right.
not that. But what is important for at least for Brooklyn at this moment, the picks, and that's what you get 4 future first round picks,
Yeah.
3 second-round picks. I mean, that's I think at least from there you'll have a shot in the future at least to grow because you need to rebuild if
Yeah.
he's leaving. So
I think this one is also in my top three, mainly because those 4 first-round picks, you're getting them in the future, and you can't get picks back to back. That's just it's a rule that they call the Stepien rule, I believe. So it would be, for example, let's just say they trade their 2024 first rounder, then it would go over to 2026, then 2028, and then 2030, or they could do like a pick swap or something. That's almost 8 years from now. KD and Dame won't be there. You're getting first-round picks from a team that might potentially be willing to do whatever it takes to land KD right now to help Dame win
yeah.
and be okay with being trash in the future, but then giving us their draft picks. You know what I mean? So like,
Mhm. Like
we're banking
like Boston and Brooklyn in the
like
past year.
Boston and Brooklyn, and exactly. Damn it, I hate you so much. Let's move on. I really don't like you at all. But well, actually, before we move on, Isandro, let me hear what you have to say about it. Do you
No,
like
I
this trade
agree
for
with everything.
Brooklyn? Or-
You're right. This is like that other trade that we mentioned with it being, what was it, the Miami trade that, their first
Yeah.
round picks are really going to carry. It's like that, but on steroids, because this is actually like legitimately, those picks are actually legitimately going to be worth it in the future, like
Right.
you said, because they can't stack.
And
Plus, if
yeah.
the potential really hits, if Simons actually and Sharp if Simons and Sharp actually develop, it's going to be nice.
Scary, yeah, scary hours.
Yeah.
And I think I also want to mention something about most of these deals. Um, Simons, I don't believe this is his rookie extension. I just think it is an extension. But there are certain players that are not eligible to be traded. So when you mentioned Miami, I just want to say, for
Bam
those who don't
Cam,
know,
yeah.
Bam is not allowed to be in a trade to Brooklyn if Ben Simmons is on the roster because he signed a rookie max extension with the current team that he's on. So the way it works is the Nets traded for Ben Simmons, so they absorbed the rookie extension that he got. But because they didn't have anybody else to give that to, they can't trade another player that signed that same rookie max extension with another team to have them both. It's like the best example I can give was when Boston wanted to trade for AD. They weren't allowed to do it because of that rookie max extension when they had Kyrie and they were going to try to trade for AD. There's just a certain clause that doesn't allow that. If you want more details, Bobby Marks does a great breakdown on ESPN. So shout out Bobby Marks. He used to work for my Nets. But let's move on to the KD to the 76ers. Before I even mention who was involved in this trade, do you think the Nets are going to try to make another trade with Philly at all?
no,
Yeah,
no.
I don't think they would either.
I don't even think KD would want to go there.
Yeah,
Well,
I think
okay.
the only reason why he'll go is because of Harden.
Well,
No,
wait,
because
yeah.
you look at his legacy.
Wait,
Does he
wait,
want to
wait,
go to
wait.
another team with 2
Wait,
superstars?
hold up. We're gonna talk KD like towards the end and why all these teams don't work for him. But I do want to mention one thing. If I'm KD, I'm trying to go to the Sixers, but we'll get into that a little later. But you get
Soft.
a Tobias Harris, Matisse Thybulle, 4 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks. So, what do you think for this package for Brooklyn? Do you think it's
Terrible
good enough
package.
to help
Probably
them
like a
win?
3 out of 10.
Wow. What do you think, Jeremy?
I give it a 3.5 because it's still
Because of the
garbage,
picks.
but it's because of the picks. That's it.
I give it a 2. I think it's a horrible package, but I think it's the most that they can offer because that's all they really have. I mean, they could probably throw in D'Anthony Melton, but I believe he has to wait a few more days to get traded. So I don't know how that would work. Yeah, I don't really see this one happening, and I don't really want it to happen. So let's move on to KD to the Mavs. You get Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, Josh Green, 4 first-round picks, 3 second-round picks to Brooklyn. What do you think for this trade for Brooklyn?
I like it. I like it.
I
I
think
like it.
10
But
out of 10 in terms of the one that I want. 7 out of 10 in terms of the package, 6 out of 10 in terms of how realistic it actually is.
So you're
But in
saying
terms of like
around
out of
seven and a
everybody
half,
here,
8.
like a 7, I'd say the average is out to like a 7.5
See, I
Yeah,
max.
think
I
this is the
said, I
worst
said
trade out of all of them.
Probably, yeah, it's
I
not a
mean,
good
hey,
trade,
at
but
least
it's the one
you
that I want to happen
Spencer
most.
Dinwiddie back. You have him back, at least back in Brooklyn.
Luca,
I
Christian Wood, and KD is a championship contending team.
Exactly. That is a champion. I would like to see him.
and those four first round picks won't ever amount to anything because Luca is still so young.
Luca,
And
prime Luca.
by the time he hits his prime, it's probably going to be that last first round pick.
He's in his prime now, but his prime is going to go on for another
He
8
has
years.
so much more, right, to keep growing, right? So let's move on to KD to the Knicks. I don't even want to like flirt this one, but RJ Barrett, Cam Reddish, Manuel Quickly, Obi Toppin, 3 first round picks, 1 protected, and 3 second
They're
round
not letting
picks.
go RJ Barrett. They're not letting go RJ Barrett.
Well, I mean, obviously for
They would
KD,
give
yeah.
up the whole world for KD, bro. They do
Of
not care.
course.
I
You
mean,
think they're
they
gonna
do.
care? If it's KD, they're gonna give up. They're gonna.
I
They're
mean,
gonna
I mean,
offer
I mean, I mean,
Fournier
I mean,
and
I
Julius Randle
forgot.
too.
It's New York. You're right. It's the Knicks. You are
Yeah.
right. I forgot that one detail. It's the
The
Knicks.
Knicks haven't signed their first round pick, like their own first round pick, to a rookie extension since Charlie Ward. I bet y'all didn't even know who that name is. So yeah, the Knicks don't
Me
care about
neither.
their first round picks. Well, I know who Charlie Ward is, but I'm saying like I bet you guys.
That's after Ewing, right?
A little bit, I believe. Yeah, after Ewing.
Yeah, it has to be
Yeah,
after
Yeah.
Ewing.
back in the
So
day.
it's been a while. It's been a while since they've done it. So yeah, I don't even want to discuss this. Knicks fans, you guys suck. So let's go to the KD to OKC. This one intrigues me. And I'm gonna move our faces over to the right here so we can get a little bit more. So we get Josh Giddey, Alexei Pokusevski, Trey Mann, Lou Dort, who just did a sign and trade, who actually just got signed to a pretty lucrative deal, I would say. So let me just add that there. Darius Baisley, 6 first round picks, 1 heavily protected, 3 protected, probably lottery, maybe like top 5 protected or whatever. 3 second round picks to Brooklyn. Do you think this makes sense for the Nets to flirt with? What do you guys think?
Keep Giddy, and get rid of Chet.
Yes, 100% yes,
Wow.
100% yes.
Wow.
Well,
Yes.
Chet is definitely going to be better, but I'm just talking about in terms of team balance, like having a playmaker
Wow.
on that team.
Mhm.
Giddy can't shoot. They got KD and Shy. Just team balance. But Chet is probably, not even probably. He's definitely better.
Well,
But
according to Joel,
if
he's not.
KD's, oh, yeah, he wasn't a fan. But KD's like if KD's there, they're not going to be developing anybody. Like Shy, he is what he is. Maybe he'll have another good season of improvement, but he's a solid player. You get KD, and then Giddy will be in his second year, so he'll still kind of be developing.
You,
But it's
you
not
gotta
his.
see,
It's not his
you gotta
rookie
see him.
season.
You gotta see him grow. You gotta see him grow. You just gotta wait out on him and see how he turns out. So
Yeah, I don't know how the Giddy fit with Ben Simmons would be at first. I mean, he would definitely have to develop that jump shot. As for the trade, I mean, the 6 first round picks is really because they have the assets to do it.
they have to. Like
right?
they have.
They have it. Like they don't even need any of these first round picks anytime soon. And the good thing for the Thunder, and I know I'm gonna get into the teams later, but the good thing for the Thunder is that most of these first round picks aren't even theirs. They can
Yeah,
pick
they could
up
trade.
from
They could
these
trade. They
other
could
these
trade
other
that. They
teams
could
and all
use
that.
them. They could use them as leverage. They
Yeah,
could have leverage.
exactly.
So it's fine.
So that's why I would say it's a pretty good trade, but I'm not too high on it because I doubt KD is going to want to go back there after they called him a cupcake.
Yeah, cupcake. Yeah, no.
Yeah, so we'll see. KD to New Orleans. See this one. That's one I love. You get Brandon Ingram, baby KD. You get Devontae Graham, Jonas Valanciunas, 3 first round picks.
He
and
had a
2
good
second
season
round
last
picks.
season. Jonas. He had a good season.
Jonas had a
Yeah.
great
He had a
season.
good
So,
season.
what do you guys think? Is this a good trade for
It's
Brooklyn?
a well balanced. It's a well balanced trade. It's a well balanced trade. I like it. I'll give it a solid 8.
I give
I
it a
give it a solid.
7.
I give it an 8.
If you're New Orleans, are you rather giving up Ingram or are you rather giving up Zion Williamson?
Ingram,
Agree.
because Ingram and Zion haven't worked before, and you'd be forcing it again. But KD and Zion terrorizing the paint, and then you can't even pack the paint because then KD's going to be wide open, and then CJ can shoot too.
Right.
It's got to be Ingram.
That's a good powerhouse right there.
I'm going with Ingram too for Brooklyn because one thing, baby KD, and he's probably thriving in the East as one of the top players in the conference. Maybe not the best, but one of maybe at least top 5. in the Eastern Conference. So that would be
Especially
really
with
exciting.
Ben Simmons being the playmaker that he
Oh
is.
yeah,
Them
and
two
they were both
together
in the
would be
same
so good.
draft class, so it would be
That would be
a good,
crazy.
yeah,
And then
pretty dope.
they somehow get
Former
Jalen
1 and
Brown, and
2.
then they have the top three. Imagine.
Yeah, be dope. Maybe Kyrie for Jalen Brown. Anyway, let's move to KD to the Cavs.
Until
uh,
Joel.
Colin Sexton in a sign and trade. Evan Mobley, Isaac Okoro, 4 first-round picks and 3 second-round picks. Are you doing this if you're Brooklyn? Basically, the main trade piece is Evan Mobley. But if you're Brooklyn, are you doing this?
No.
Mm,
I'll give this
What?
like a
I'm
2.
1000% doing this. What?
mm.
Those 4
Evan Mobley is
first-round
amazing.
picks?
It's just Sexton is like.
Look, I'm doing it.
Is this with the insinuation that they're also getting rid of Kyrie?
No, why would they get Kyrie? No,
They're getting rid of Kyrie too, right?
None of this has to do with Kyrie yet. Kyrie's gonna have his own
Really?
separate, his own
So
separate
all right.
stuff.
So this is all with the assumption that Kyrie's gonna stay, hypothetically, right? Because if that's the case, like I don't like a Kyrie Sexton backcourt. When they
Kyrie's
both need the
obviously
ball in
going
their
to be
hands.
traded. I'm just saying, as of right now, this is the roster without Kyrie or KD. Kyrie's going to be traded. I'm gonna have trade packages for him later, but KD to the Cavs, and I'm saying later as in not today. I'm saying like at another date, But for right now, we're saying Kyrie is not there, KD's not there. You don't think this is a good trade for Brooklyn? I really think
I like
it
it.
is.
I like it. Sexton, Mobley. The thing is,
I think it is.
Mobley on the same court as Ben Simmons.
Yeah, Mobley can shoot. Like I would give it to Brooklyn because I doubt KD's going to be in Cleveland for too long. So you just trade him there just to get the assets. Then Cleveland trades him away to whatever. They get their own assets or whatever.
Well,
now those picks, they start becoming good.
Darius Garland, Jared Allen, and KD is a contender.
Oh, I feel what?
Yeah, of course.
Hell yeah.
Lob City all day.
That'd be great, but I don't think that KD wants that anytime soon. So
Nah,
I personally love.
You don't think he'd
love
want to play with his boy Jared Allen?
Just keep in mind that he wants to contend. He doesn't want to have a chance of
You
contending.
are so disrespectful. I want to slap you in the face with a bat. Anyway, next trade we got here. KD to the Raptors. Scotty Barnes, Malachi Flynn, Precious Achua, whatever.
You got to throw in
3
OG
first-round
too.
picks. That's the player I was missing. OG Anunoby.
Anunoby.
You just type in OG.
3 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks to Brooklyn. What do you guys think? Is this a good trade for Brooklyn?
It's a good trade, but it's not
8 out
something
of
like
10.
it's a good trade, but it's not something like realistically is gonna happen.
I think this one might be a little realistic though, because Jay told me before they were shopping OG, and if they're in the win now, they got Pascal and Van Vliet. Giving up Scotty Barnes, who has his value has never been higher because he had a good season, he had a great season. I don't know who Malachi Flynn is, but Precious Achua, a center, and OG, and those first round picks. This is one of the best packages available.
Yeah,
hands down.
It's
for both teams.
For me, I think this is probably in my top 4 because I mentioned my top 3 already. Well, I haven't mentioned my top 3.
This is in my top 3.
It's not my favorite, but it's not bad. It's not bad.
Just because it helps out both teams tremendously equally. Well, not equally, but it just helps out both teams.
I just don't see at least the Raptors contending as much. You get what I mean?
But they got Pascal, who should have been an all-star. They have Fred VanVleet, who was an all-star, and KD.
Yeah,
there's probably somebody else I'm missing.
You're just replacing Kawhi with KD at this point, right? And
definitely.
I mean, yeah.
You can have a debate who would be a better whatever. But
you lose Lowry, right? But you lost him a while ago, and
just keep in mind that KD is like a rental. He's only there. He probably has like 2 more years in the tank, and
he's got 4. He's got 4 years, man. He's got 4.
Oh, you mean like good seasons on it?
Yes.
He's probably gonna have 4 more good seasons.
No, I think his game's gonna translate. I don't think because
he hasn't changed
athleticism. You know what I mean? So like he lets the game come to him so
It's the same thing what happened with his injury. People were confused as what's going to happen with him. He came back, he just balled out the same because his game doesn't depend on athleticism. So it's the same thing for aging.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I like this trade a lot too though. But let's move on to
I'll give it like an 8.5 actually.
I'm giving that a 10. Let's go to the KD to the Nuggets. MPJ, Bones Highland, Jamal Murray. 3 first-round picks, 3 second-round picks, Brooklyn. I know Isandro liked this one
Hmm.
before we talked about it.
I
So
like it.
let's get Jeremy's
I,
take
I
on it. What do
like
you
it.
think?
I like it. I just love the duo, the Joker and KD. I love. I think
Yep.
I can
Perfect.
see I can see it working. I can see it's working.
Yeah, no, me too. I could see it working for the Nuggets. For the Nets though, I don't know, man. MPJ gives me too many question marks with his injury.
But we have Murray.
Jamal,
You have a solid scorer.
I know, but
Yeah.
Jamal Murray is also still coming back from an ACL, which it's not as bad because most players come back from ACL injury better. But I don't know. I don't think it
He's
would
also
be.
been out for over a year and a half.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, Jokic just got the bag. He just signed that massive extension with the Nuggets, so they would be locked into those two guys for the next 4 years, hypothetically. If I'm the Nuggets, absolutely I'm doing it. But if I'm the Nets, I don't know. I like it. I like it for the first round picks. I like it for Jamal Murray, banking on them being healthy. If they're healthy, by all means, I'm doing this. But if not, then But I do
Mainly
like the trade.
MPJ, but Bones is good too. Don't sleep on
Yeah.
Bones.
Shout out my boy Bonesy. Let's move on to KD
Give
to
it a
the
9 out of 10.
Lakers. KD to the Lakers. We got Anthony Davis, Stanley Johnson, Austin Reeves, Kendrick Nunn, 3 first-round picks and 2 second-rounders to Brooklyn.
That
What do you
is
guys think?
probably an 8 out of 10 to be honest, because you're
Why
getting
can't
AD,
you
who
ask
is injury prone.
why can't you ask Scotty Pippen Jr. on this trade?
Yeah, you're right. Why not? Let's add him.
Why not? Why not? Why not? I'm just
SPJ.
there. You
That's gonna
go.
be his nickname. SPJ.
There you go.
It's because
See, Adam,
Larsa won't let it happen.
Adam.
What do you think? Do you
I
think it's
like
a
it. I like it. However, I'm just
Fantastic. You're
like
getting three young
you're
players. Technically, AD is young, but he's injury prone. But AD, on his day, is a top 10 player in the league. He's probably been the best player mentioned here. If we're just talking pure talent,
right?
no injuries
What he's
involved.
accomplished.
You're getting that plus a lot of young players, and the Lakers' future, which is so important because LeBron is 37, KD is going to be 34, and they have Russ. They have
well.
no future.
For
Well,
now, they have us. For now, they
listen,
have us.
listen. They can. We can also adjust this trade. Put KD and Kyrie
As well,
together for
look.
AD, Russ.
I wanted to say that too, but you said keep in mind that this only if Kyrie
Yeah,
is staying. Like
I
you
was
said,
thinking
yeah.
that too. I think we
No,
were all
but
yeah,
thinking it, but
yeah,
nobody said it.
we were
yeah.
all
Well,
thinking.
I'll say it because I don't want any of them. I want Russ in Brooklyn. Let's go down to
So our first 10 out of 10 trade, look at that.
Listen. No, this is
Yeah.
my favorite trade. This is my favorite trade. The Minnesota
Oh,
trade.
KD to Minnesota. All right, let's get into it then.
I like
No,
this.
We
it's
got
not.
Carl
All
Anthony
right, we'll talk
I
Downs,
about it.
like this
D'Angelo
trade.
Russell, 4 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks.
It
All
benefits
right,
both teams.
Jeremy.
It
It
benefits both
doesn't. It
teams.
really doesn't.
Wow. Explain to me.
Let him finish talking.
Explain to
Well,
me. Explain.
I finished. I want to hear you guys.
Explain
I
to
want to
me.
do
They're
this.
Explain to
giving
me.
up. They're giving up Carl Anthony Towns, which they have to do, or else the
You
trade
have to.
doesn't
They have
happen.
to. They have to.
But then it's just Anthony Edwards and KD. That's not a championship
Anthony
contending
Edwards.
team.
Okay, they could pick up a few things. Anthony Edwards. You don't trust Anthony Edwards?
Who are they gonna
You
pick
don't.
up? And they have no future. They're giving up their future too.
That is true. That is true. But I like this trade for Brooklyn. I like this trade for Brooklyn.
For Brooklyn, it's amazing.
For
If
I love this trade for
if
Brooklyn.
Minnesota is dumb enough to do this, I would take it
I mean,
in a
I wouldn't be
heartbeat.
surprised.
Cat,
Alex Rodriguez is the owner, part-time owner. So
you know,
I wouldn't.
Cat, Ben Simmons, and convince Kyrie to stay for one more year. Championship in Minnesota, baby.
Kyrie is not staying.
Just convince him. Just be like, yo, the Earth is flat.
Look, I can see a potential KD and Kyrie for Cat, D'Lo, Torian Prince, a bunch of these other.
I don't think that. I don't
If,
think.
if
But
it's
the
two
thing,
of them, this is probably one of the worst
listen,
packages. You're gonna have to give up a
listen.
whole lot
Yeah,
more.
it's true.
I'd
That is
rather
true.
AD and a ton of young players, or a Boston package where they're throwing up more than just
Because
Jalen Brown and Grant
So wait,
Williams.
so before you guys mention anything, now that we've discussed all the trades and you
which
guys
I did.
gave
I
all
did. I
your
didn't
takes.
tell.
Oh
I
well,
didn't.
the first ones were KD to Phoenix, KD to Miami,
I like
KD to. I
Katie
mean,
Miami. Katie Miami is my favorite one out of all of them. Just
all
saying.
right. Well,
No,
now you know it. Now you know it,
that's
and
crazy.
it's fine. So I'm
That's
gonna
wild.
stop the share, and we're gonna now come back, and you can see all of our beautiful faces more, in a better light. Guys, which one was your absolute favorite of all of them? And for the other team, not for the Nets now. Forget the Nets. Where do you see is the best landing spot for KD? With all those trades that were mentioned, and of course there are other teams in the NBA that might offer him. Teams like the Wizards, because they just re-signed Bradley Beal, they might throw a package with Kuz, Kristaps, a few first rounders, Monte Morris. I don't know,
You say for the
but
other team? For the other team?
yeah. But what do you think is the best package that we have uh, for KD? You know, KD on that new roster, like you
What
know
about top three? What
Miami.
about top three?
Sure, yeah. Give me your top three, Isandro,
No,
if
you
you want to.
started. You started. What's your
Oh,
top
you
three?
want me to start it?
You
Oh, okay.
started.
Well, just based off of
Boston,
pure.
obviously.
Get it out. No, I think the best one for KD, if I'm KD, and Kyrie's not coming with me, and it's just me, right? I think Miami obviously is the best choice
If you're
because
KD, right?
if you're KD, because you know you got Jimmy and you got Bam Adebayo. Now it sucks that they're losing PJ, and it sucks that they're losing their point
True.
guard in Kyle Lowry, but they got Gabe Vincent, right? He's a solid point guard. They could definitely sign another point guard in free agency. Ricky Rubio is still out there. There's actually a lot of players still out there, and I know a lot of players have signed and moved around, but there's a lot of really solid veterans that I can see work well with KD and those guys in Miami. Another team that I like is Portland. And I know it's weird that I'm saying that because it's really just Dame and KD if he goes there. But you get those two together, you get Jeremy Grant, who's also there. Then you just kind of add in pieces around those guys, which that I think would really flourish. A potential, I don't know, Austin Rivers can join them and solidify that starting five if you bring back Nurkic, right? And now you got a really solid wing defender in Jeremy Grant, solid defender in Rivers or whoever they signed, right? And all these other guys, right? Like Dame, KD is going to be one of the best offensive duos that the league has ever seen. So I could say that is another trade that I would want if I'm KD. And my final one, top three. I mean, I don't know. I can say maybe the Nuggets to play with the MVP Jokic, um, but no, I think the final one I would say is probably Philly. If I'm KD, if I'm going to Philadelphia to play with Joel Embiid, play with James Harden, um, and again, it's now PJ Tucker's over there, so then just putting other pieces around them, just those four, right? I think that's enough for them to be the favorites to come out of the Eastern Conference next season. So I don't know. Anywhere he goes, it doesn't really bother me because all I care about is what the Nets get in return. But for KD, I think those three would probably be my best. And I'm still a little iffy with the Philly thing because him and Harden, I don't know how well they're gonna work. But if I'm KD, I'm doing anything I can to play with Embiid. I don't care who else is around me. I'm there to play with Embiid. That's why I mentioned them. But I really don't care. But what do you guys think? Jeremy, what are your top three?
I think I have to go with maybe Philly as well, like you said, because I just think maybe forget about Embiid for 1 second, because we know Embiid what he could offer. We know that as
Right,
well.
yeah.
I just think maybe Katie didn't have the 100% potential of James Harden at least playing in Brooklyn. Maybe he didn't give his all because maybe in personal things that happen in the locker room
Yeah.
internally that we don't know. But maybe give him a second chance, go with Philly, which is fine. Obviously, my number one choice has to be Miami. Miami is
Yeah.
it's a win-win from both sides. It's great for Brooklyn as well, happy for KD. But I think maybe Memphis could be another.
I was gonna say Memphis. I forgot about the Memphis trade I mentioned
Memphis.
because John
I
Morant
like.
and KD they boys, right? So I think it would be good. For
I think
Memphis.
they could pull it off. They could pull it off with Memphis at least. But Miami being my number one favorite, at least in this
Yeah,
unrealistic
hypothetical. Yeah, this
hypothetical. Yeah.
hypothetical. So Sandro, I see you shaking your head a little bit. Give us
Memphis is
yours.
my least. All right, because I'm doing it not in terms of where KD would where would KD fit best, and I'm thinking of it in just basketball terms, both where he can fit, but also who's going to give him the best package. So when you combine those two, for me, it's going to be Raptors at the top, Nuggets are going to be in second, and depending on how much the Lakers can give, they're a contender for the third spot because you're giving up AD, you're giving up a ton of young players, you're giving up the most valuable first round picks in all of the league. because I cannot stress this enough. The Lakers will be buns when those first round picks are coming up.
Yeah.
So they're going to be amazing. So that being said, that's going to be my top three: Raptors, Nuggets, Lakers.
I like the Raptors mainly because they have their starting five set if they keep the players that I mentioned. I didn't mention Gary Trent Jr. in a trade.
I
for that
completely
reason
forgot about him.
specific.
Wow,
For that
yeah.
reason specific, because
Wow,
you would
yeah.
have Van Vliet, Gary Trent Jr., KD, Pascal, and Chris Boucher. That's a great starting
That's
five,
a great.
right?
It's got spacing. It's got defense.
It's a
just
beautiful starting five, and
it's
and
amazing.
it
Wow.
it
I
would
want
be a
that to
lot.
happen now. That's great. I forgot about Gary Trent. That's crazy.
Yeah, I would want it to happen too for the first round picks. But yeah, I'm
Also, they're giving up good stuff too, though. They're giving
yeah,
up
Scotty
young
Barnes. Scotty Barnes
players.
is a young
Scotty, OG, somebody
Yeah.
else, Precious, who actually he started doing good this year. He's actually like a good shooter for a center, right? He shot
Yeah,
like
no,
40 or 39 or something like that.
solid.
Which is
Yeah.
like, if you're Brooklyn and you're gonna keep Ben Simmons, what more can you ask for a big who can
Well,
shoot, right?
we have to keep
I
that.
mean, yeah.
Uh,
I mean,
we traded everything for him. But no, but I was gonna mention, throughout the podcast I was saying, I had my top three, but as time went on, I kind of readjusted it. And now I still think I would probably give Raptors 4 because I just think KD would benefit a lot playing alongside a player like Embiid because he never had a player like Embiid. Um, but at the
I
end of
just
the day,
don't like the fact that he's going somewhere with two other stars. That's just from a basketball perspective. I'm like, if it was just Embiid, 100%, because then they'd still have
yeah.
the assets. Let's say they didn't
But I
go for
mean,
that James Harden trade.
Harden's not that. He's not a star. Like not anymore. Like he's.
You think so?
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna be much. Like he's gonna be a solid. He's a solid guy. He's a solid person. Like he's, there's nothing too special like revolving around Harden. I don't know.
What
I
if he
don't
was just
see it.
working his way back from injury? Now he has like a fully like
It's
healthy
been two
off season,
years. It's been 2 years.
but he never got to fully like get back from that injury. And he's older.
That's what I'm
This
saying.
this off
2
season, he might be a
years.
different player.
Oh, he might, but I also see him partying too much. So, like I don't know. It's weird with them. I think it would be KD and Embiid's team, obviously, but that's pretty much it for today, guys. That's really what I wanted. I mean, mainly we wanted to talk about free agency, but we might do a separate pod on that once free agency kind of like dies down, and we can do like maybe we can look back into the 30 teams in 30 days. Probably not 30 days, but definitely look into something like that. But as of right now, we just wanted to talk KD. Let us know if you guys want us to talk about Kyrie trade scenarios that I can definitely do while I'm at work. I'm pretty excited to see what it's got going for us. I'm excited to see what the Nets do. I'm so happy that KD wants out. Not only for Brooklyn, but for KD too. I just think it's it's gonna be a good breakup. I hate him, but it's gonna be a solid breakup where both parties involved are it's kind of needed. Kyrie, I'm so glad that he's
A
out of
healthy
here.
breakup.
I'm so glad that that Kyrie might be out too. I just hope the Nets don't mess it up to the point where we're gonna be irrelevant for years because we don't have our first round draft picks. Let's make sure that Houston doesn't benefit from it. Like let's actually try to be competitive, even if it's like the 8th seed. I don't care. Just try. Like don't do anything too stupid. Also, I didn't mention any Charlotte trades, but I would love to see KD with LaMelo. That'd be pretty cool. But yeah, there's a lot of NBA to talk about. A lot of
Just
stuff
KD
going
just
on.
instantly makes any team he goes to better. So it's like we
KD,
forgot
man.
teams, but there were other teams he could have gone to. They would have been,
The KD effect. It's really a big thing. Shout out Paolo Banchero for doing the. Did you see that? He posted a
Yeah.
picture of that too. Like, bro, you would get traded for him, you baboon. But yeah, guys, it's pretty much all I wanted to discuss today. Unless you guys want to get into free agency, I don't think so. I think we're just gonna do that for another day. But I'm really excited to see what the rest of free agency looms. I'm assuming trade season is definitely not over. KD will be traded. Kyrie most likely will be traded. John Collins, Danilo Gallinari is also a free agent. Might sign with the contender. Miami and Boston are linked to him. So there's a lot that we can definitely discuss. But for right now, these are our trade scenarios. So please like, subscribe, and hit the like button down below if you're watching us on YouTube. And if you're watching us or hearing us on all social media platforms, if you want to see that Google Doc of all those trade scenarios I made, they're going to be posted on all our social media, Twitter, Instagram, probably even on our Spotify list. Jeremy's doing some weird, whatever you're doing. But we appreciate you guys, and we love you guys, and peace.